Hello, Damola, and follow me. Trust you guys are doing great. I want to appreciate you for this awesome initiative and for committing your time and resources into coming up with great episodes every fortnight. Listening to the podcasts instills in me passion to effect positive change in the insurance industry, and I do hope to be part of you in the nearest future, to be part of what you're doing, and to commit myself to it. Uh, Thank you so much. We appreciate what you're doing. Please don't stop. God bless you. We love you. Cheers.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our final episode of InsurTech Business Series for the year 2020. It's been a long one coming. If we're grateful for anything that happened this year, was the fact that out of all of the pandemic, that coronavirus brought to the world, it also brought us an array of opportunities, and the InsurTech Business Series podcast was one of them. Damola, how do you feel about this?
I'm pumped because we actually have been having a conversation around starting off something like this, even before this year. Well, one thing will just lead to another and then we don't start it off. But then, the lockdown came and we had no idea how or who will get on, how we'll start off. But we just said, let's just do something. Let's start off. And here we are today. We're running since April 2020.
It's been an amazing journey.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Speaking to a lot of amazing people and sharing a lot of knowledge even with our community. So it's been great. And big ups to all our listeners, all our community members for listening and sharing a comment and just being a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Because you're listening to it and learning from it, that's what keeps us motivated to speak to these guys.
So thank you. Okay, so I know that we started in April, but in the course of all of our conversations, I've realized that it's important for us that innovation in insurance is actually very important. I know that we've had changes from when, the merchants came together to contribute as much as possible for insurance. Insurance evolved from there and, it kept evolving until a particular time where it seemed as if it just stopped evolving. And now that you're having technology disruptions, it's so exciting to see, having products being remodeled, all of that. So in the course of this conversation, I've learned a lot that, insurance is bigger than what we think it is. And there's a lot more to do with insurance. I know that's been my, take home from majority of our conversation. Technology coming, the change of distribution channels and models and methods, in terms of pricing and all of that. What was your take home? From April till now, we must have something that stood out.
A lot of talking points, a lot of things learned. But one thing that really just stands out for me is the fact that as much as we are in different countries, different continents, we have a lot in common, especially in the insurance industry. All right. We all still struggle with this whole trust thing. And that is something that technology, for example, is helping to solve for, right? And that's why you are seeing a lot of conversations around technology coming into the industry to enable the insurance business. And I feel like that is one thing that we should have in mind, within the next 3, 5, 10 years. We have a lot in common, even as we are in different countries, and there's a lot that we can learn from each other as well. Looking at Africa, for example, we all have different countries, but at the end of the day, if you look at the new accord that is going to be activated by January 1st, we have all African countries connected trade-wise, right? So that means that we are one. And so there are a lot of things that we can learn from each other, regions, from everywhere, and so that I think that's one thing that I've picked up from all of our conversations from the different people that we've spoken to within the African continent and outside.
I totally agree with you, and which brings me to the fact that even as speaker on this particular final version of our podcast is also, one of those thought leaders in insurance. And, our conversations are going to be around distribution, the simplification of insurance, which I really think that is important at this particular time. And I think it's one of the things that they're getting right in Kenya now. Because if we keep on looking at one of the top 5 African countries that have successfully been able to increase their penetration index rate, Kenya actually happens to, stand out as well. And I think it's important that, these conversations are being brought to the fore. It seems like something that Nigeria could mirror to or buy in order for us to recreate how we sell our insurance and upscale insurance products. Coming on will be Jihan Abbas, but I'm going to leave Damola to give the proper introduction. So, Damola, who is Jihan Abbas?
Jihan Abbas is founder, CEO of Lami Insurance Technologies, an insurtech company operating out of Kenya. They use their expertise to provide API technologies, for insurance companies in order to help them scale their insurance products, to large markets. They're basically just enabling faster and broader expansion of sale of insurance to more people, to get more people included in finance and to improve the penetration of insurance. Just like both of us, she did have a background in insurance. Yes. So she's young as well. She's a millennial again, like both of us. She's the perfect guest to end the year with.
So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Jihan, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. How are you doing? How has it been? We've been following you a bit now, and you've been engaged in a lot of things. But first off, personally, how are you?
I'm not too bad. There's lots of stuff to do, lots of work, but nonetheless, it's been a really exciting year for us. So I'm really grateful, and so far so good.
Oh, right. That's good. You launched your product and everything this year, right? And so, that's why you said it's been an interesting year. So, we'll get into a lot of, get into that later on. But can you tell us a bit about yourself? So, who is Jihan Abbas?
Yeah. So, I grew up in Kenya at the coast, in a very small town. And I sort of decided to go to university in the UK for my undergraduate degree. I studied finance, actually. And my first career was working on a trading desk in the city of London as a commodities trader. So that was actually my initial sort of, where I thought my life would go. And then I became obsessed with insurance, and it's probably a huge sense. So I started off in a what I thought at the time was a stressful career, and I quit. And I think I've managed to surpass the levels of stress that I experienced.
Wow, that's interesting. There's no history or there's no previous engagement in insurance, but then now you are pioneering something in the insurance space. How did it all start? Where did it all come from? Why insurance?
Well, how it started was I was actually back home on holiday in Mombasa in Kenya, and I was speaking to a waiter who told me he didn't have health insurance. And then I started to do research about the insurance industry when I got back home, and I realized actually, not only he didn't have insurance, but actually only 3% of Africans have insurance. So I became very, very obsessed with understanding why there was such a big gap, particularly in Kenya, where there's so many insurance companies in the market, but only 2.8% of Kenyans have insurance. And from then on, it's been a very long journey to try to crack that low penetration barrier.
Hey, this is Brian Falchuk from Boston, Massachusetts in the United States of America. I want to give a shout out to the InsurTech Business Series, Falumi and Damola. What you are doing to help move the industry forward in the African continent, but also more broadly for the industry at large, is so incredibly important. As I think about the future of our industry, it's conversations like the ones you're having that will help us move forward. So congratulations on the success of the show. Please keep at it.
Wow. So we'll get into what you're engaged in so far, but like in terms of your experience in industry so far, your engagement with the industry, how has it been? Can you tell us a bit about, your experience getting into insurance and how it all started and then what you are seeing right now?
Yeah, I would say that there's been a lot of changes over the past 2 years. So when I started this in about 2018, that's when we started building the technology that's Lami. Okay. The landscape was completely different. So you'd actually not see, a lot of the insurance companies were even more traditional than they are today, even though they're still, I think, quite behind. It was even worse at that time. Nobody even knew what an API is at that time. It was quite difficult to convince them that, they needed to think outside the box and change the way they do things. The insurance industry, it hadn't really changed for 50 or 60 years. It was pretty much the same as the times when my granddad was buying his insurance. So I would say that today I see a lot more positive changes. And I think the young companies coming into the market have sort of forced these underwriters to start thinking outside the box.
Yeah, you talked on something that, talk about technology, that how it has changed the industry. And then talking about change, right? Some of these new companies like your company have forced that change. But what about the customers? Is there anything that you are seeing or what you have noticed from the customer angle that is forcing this change that we are seeing or beginning to see in the industry?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that so traditionally insurance companies in Kenya don't really target, individual customers. They mostly target corporate business.
Corporates.
And that's why the insurance penetration level is still so low. But now, customers are actually have become very tech savvy have always been quite tech savvy in Kenya. People use mobile money. People use apps like Jumia to order things online, and they're, using all these like social media apps. So in terms of like the expectations, I think the expectations of what people want have actually changed dramatically. And now they're starting to impose the high standards, that they used to also to the insurance industry. Even though I think it's still a bit early, but I think we're going to see a lot more of that, customers demanding more from insurance.
I think that could only help the industry to get better. Just talking about the Nigerian space, and specifically the banking sector here, a lot of things from the customer angle as well as push the industry to be better. Customer service is a lot better than what it used to be. And so, the pressure is there, but I think it will only bode well for the industry. And so talking about the technology aspect now, for example, when you look at Africa, right? Yes, insurance is important, but the kind of products that those customers would be consuming wouldn't be the expensive ones. So how do you think that technology can help?
Yeah, I definitely think that at least from the Kenyan market, everybody uses mobile money. M-Pesa is used by everybody. So when you look at that and you ask yourself, why hasn't the insurance industry been able to leverage on that? It's a big question mark there.
Yeah.
And the big reason for that is the fact that the insurance companies have never developed digital products, like products that are fully end-to-end digital. So Safaricom has actually tried to launch a few insurance products, but the problem had been that when the purchase process is very digital. So you buy it through USSD on your phone, but actually the policy administration, registration, and all those other components is done by people sitting in the back office. So all those products actually failed and were not able to successfully reach the market, the market that they were targeting. Because at the end of the day, only one small component of it was digitized. The rest was still manual. And I think that's the biggest problem that we need to overcome so that we can actually leverage fully on the mobile technology.
You talked about mobile money there. Kenya is, I think that's the headquarters when you talk about mobile money. How did it get so successful in Africa? M-Pesa leading that front. How did it happen? I look at it from a Nigerian perspective because yes, we have a large population, right? And one of the ways that more people can get involved in finance and the whole financial inclusion conversation is leveraging mobile technology and mobile money, and stuff like that?
I would say the convenience of mobile money. You don't really need. So one of the biggest problems we had in the past in terms of opening bank accounts, there was a huge barrier to entry. So most people were not able to open bank accounts because they had to deposit a minimum of $150 to be able to open a bank account. So that's why mobile money took off, because there's no barrier to entry. Anybody could have signed up. And anybody could start using it, versus all the traditional banks that we had, that had this huge cap that most people couldn't reach. But I think the one thing that's been ignored, we hear a lot of talk about financial inclusion, but the financial security aspect of it is completely ignored. And that's what insurance brings forward. People here in Africa rely on single sources of income. However, they're not protecting that. So then at the end of the day, there's no point of having a bank account. There's no point of having a way to keep your money when you don't have the security to actually sustain and to ensure that income is completely secure.
Thank you for that. So let's talk about Lami and Griffin now. Right. So prior to now, we've had conversations with some people even from Kenya. Eunice Minor, who runs an insurance marketplace, and it was quite interesting. Her thoughts around the industry and the kind of improvements that are happening in that space. We've had conversations with tech companies leveraging insurance, right? So we've talked to Dr. Ikpeme Neto, who runs Wella Health here in Nigeria. They are leveraging insurance in order to sell malaria care, right? So we have a malaria insurance cover. And then health insurance as well is being sold through a lending platform, Ella. We had Akin Jones, who's the CEO. It's going to be interesting to hear what Lami is doing and what friction we're looking to solve in the market, especially from the Kenyan perspective.
So Lami is an insurance as a service platform. We've digitized the entire insurance value chain, KYC, pricing, underwriting, claims, fraud detection, all these other components that you need, all in one platform and API that you can use to integrate into any front end. So you can embed insurance products in existing platforms, and also you can use it to create and distribute your own products. For us at Lami, when we looked at the problem of low insurance penetration, that's the problem that we're trying to solve.
Okay.
If you look at a direct-to-consumer product, you'll never get there to be able to actually have an impact on that 3% penetration level. However, we felt that if you give others the tools to be able to create and distribute products in a very cost-effective way, you can go take a product to market in only 4 weeks using our API. We felt that's the best way to have impact and to reach as many people as possible. So you plug into platforms that have millions of users, hundreds of thousands of users, and make insurance available there. It also gives you a chance to leverage on the trust that has already been built with your customers to add to include insurance for them. And at the same time, it gives businesses an additional revenue stream.
That's interesting. I remember our conversation with Eunice Minor, and she said that the insurance companies, they know that they need to digitize, but they don't know how to do it. I think that Lami might be providing that kind of opportunity to help them do that. Can you explain what exactly or how your model works, right? Because I understand that you're not a comparison site, but then you work with insurance companies. So how does that work, and how does the customer eventually benefit from the whole engagement from your platform?
Sure. So we work with about 17 insurance companies that operate in East Africa, some across Africa. And basically, we are the middle layer that connects the supply and demand of insurance. So we're the distribution partners. So we plug into online platforms. Recently, we launched on Jumia, these kinds of digital businesses. We plug in insurance there, and they can basically select the products that they think fit their demographics.
The Jumia partnership, that's huge, right? So what was the thought around, that kind of partnership, and why do you think that it was quite important? And do you think that these are kind of things that we'll begin to see?
Absolutely. I think you see it very much, it's very prevalent in Asia. You see all these big online marketplaces selling insurance, because at the end of the day, people are they're very used to using these platforms. People use they use Jumia to do food deliveries. They'll use Jumia to buy other things that they may need as well, So why not buy insurance there? Why not have insurance products available there? So what we're trying to do is not only, bring insurance to the customers where they are, but secondly, start selling insurance in context. So when somebody, for example, is buying food for their cat, automatically you can suggest to them and tell them, why don't you buy pet insurance if you have a cat? It allows you to now use the data and embed products in the right way at the exact time when somebody might take it up.
Yeah. Earlier we mentioned digital products and how there is a scarcity of that in the market at the moment. Going forward now, some of the products that we have in the market, I envisage that they would have to change. Some would have to be totally, reimagined and things like that. There are some school of thoughts that we should leverage creating products around a subscription model and some user-based insurance products. What do you think can work for the African market now?
I think there's a lot of products. We're currently working on an interesting one for motorcycle riders. I think there's a big gap for tailored insurance products here because we still use, the traditional one size fits all or three options for insurance products. Versus, assessing people and then saying, okay, this would work best for you. So I think there's a big gap for that, especially pay as you drive for car insurance, motorcycle insurance, these kinds of insurances, that are the biggest sellers here, The one thing that technology helps with, the reason why these products have not been available, why you cannot pay for your car insurance on a daily basis or a weekly basis or an hourly basis is because the insurance companies don't have the capability to collect the premiums from you. But now using technology or using, for example, the Lami API, it gives these insurance companies the ability to not only collect these premiums, but keep track, reconcile all in real time. So they don't have to manually do all these things. That's why they haven't been able to launch these products, because they would manually have to keep track of it. And it would be very time consuming and very costly for them.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bente, and I'm the founder and CEO of MTech, and we are based in Kenya. I am very passionate about the disruption of the insurtech space, and together with our model MTech, we are actually serving insurance platform and also white label solutions for the industry. Please keep on listening to Insurtech Business Series podcast, and I hope to see all of you at the conference in December.
So you started off this journey 2018 and launched into the markets beginning of this year. How has the reception been? I'm quite interested to hear about the reception, especially in Kenya, right? How did they react to what you guys are doing, and what is it now, and now? To what you're doing, not you personally now. I'm coming to you personally, but like for your business and what you're bringing to the market.
When we were building out the technology, we would approach underwriters to create more flexible products with us, and they would be a bit skeptical, they would be a bit afraid of taking that leap. But now we have insurance companies reaching out to us, asking us to integrate, to do products with them, which has been a really, really big turn and change. And it's been really exciting to finally see, the insurance industry embracing technology and also embracing, I think there was always the mentality of, I can do this myself. Yeah. Now, they're kind of changing that mentality and embracing the whole partnership model, which at the end of the day makes the most sense for them, because by the time they build out all the tech, launch a product, it's going to be 2 years and there's new things already that have been developed, So it gives them a way to, instead of having to play catch up, they can actually be thinking about their customer base and creating the products that their customer base would like to see. We launched our first product, the Griffin app, which is a motor insurance app that runs on Lami at the end of January. And we've had such great responses in the market for that product. It's the first of its kind here in the region. You can buy your motor policy in less than 2 minutes. You can pause, upgrade and downgrade your insurance for the first time here.
Wow.
And people were really excited about that product. They were really excited that, they had ownership of their insurance versus, before where they would just have to pay one lump sum and never contact the insurance company again. So this way, they can actually track their claims. All our claims are settled in 7 days. So it's something more exciting for them. a big change.
You mentioned some things here now, and then pause your policy, buy in 2 minutes. These are some of the things that, looking at the African market generally, they're strange. But when you look at Europe and America, these are some of the things that it's almost like it's normal to them. Like the market is embraced all of those things, going forward. Now, before the African market now, in terms of claims, because that's one huge vein in the market. How is technology, or how is Lami Griffin tackling that aspect? Because at the end of the day, you are not the one that is paying the claim, right? It's the insurance companies.
Exactly.
What goes into all of those?
So at the moment, all the claims are settled within 7 days versus industry average of 60 to 90 days here in Kenya. I would say that we can definitely automate claim payouts using our platform and API. However, insurance companies are not yet at the level where they are allowing, people to automate that process fully.
Okay.
So in terms of technology, I think the main benefit of why even the turnaround time is quite fast is because all the information is uploaded via the app.
Okay.
The insurance company can see all the information using dashboards and just decide to accept or not accept based on the information. We also make sure that we collect all the KYC documentation before during the purchase process, so that we make sure that afterwards we're not, one of the big problems we have here in Kenya is people going back and forth asking you, send us this piece of information, send us that. But we are connected to various databases that we can actually verify all the KYC information prior to make sure that later on, when it comes time for paying of claims, it's faster. And in terms of pricing, we also spend a lot of time on pricing products, making sure that we're giving the right price. So we've built a lot of algorithms around risk-based pricing that we're still working on fully using. Once insurance companies are open and allow us to price products, and hopefully even with that, we'll be able to minimize claims as well, because you'll be pricing products correctly.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So for you now personally, there are not so many millennials playing majorly in the insurance industry. How was the perception of the industry, or how were those engagements like initially for you, and how has that changed today?
I think when you're able to show a track record, people are more open to listening to you and seeing what it is that you have to offer. Luckily, when we launched our product at the end of January, we got pretty good press coverage. People were really excited about our product. And that comes with a certain level of outreach. People reach out to us and ask us to, how can we help them on their transformational journey? How can they use our API? So there's been a big change in that sense. I would say that prior to that, it was mostly people, we would just show them demos, but they didn't really see the real effect in terms of what the market thinks of a product like this. But now people are more, I think it's become more clear.
The insurance industry is a male-dominated industry, right? And you are a young woman entering into that space. Initially, or even till now, has that whole cloud, affected the way your business has grown, or in terms of the engagements with other members of the industry?
Yeah, I would say that insurance is definitely very much male dominated, and there's not a lot of people my age in the industry in terms of trying to disrupt the industries. Yeah, before, I would also have a lot of issues. Sometimes I would email people and I would get a reply saying Mr. Abbas or Mr. Jihan Abbas.
Wow.
And I would get really upset about it. It's very common. I don't know how we can change that. I think maybe it's even a problem. It's also a problem in the technology industry in general. There's not a lot of women leading companies in tech as well. But I hope that the small role that I can play in changing that, I hope I can make a small impact there at least. But it's definitely been quite difficult, I would say. People sometimes don't take you as seriously as they should, but your work speaks for you. So that's what I always say. So at the end of the day, they might be skeptical, or they might expect somebody a lot older or a man. Your work speaks for you. Yeah. So I try to do the best that I can on that front.
Oh wow, that's absolutely, definitely are already doing amazingly in that regard. I mean, we started a project recently which we called IBS, Women in Insurance, here in Nigeria. And really, not just for Nigeria, but for Africa, really, just speaking to, I mean, it got to a time that we saw that we were mainly speaking to men, right? And say, hey, there are a lot of women actually doing a lot of great stuff in the industry. And I looked at the insurance industry, and we see a lot of women who are MDs of insurance companies, who are leading some of the stakeholders in the industry. And I say, these are amazing people doing amazing stuff with knowledge and experience and doing excellent work. So why not we celebrate these women? And definitely you are, and we are definitely happy to speak with you and tell your story and get the right people to notice you and what you're doing. Now, in terms of the industry, right, the regulator plays a huge role, creating that enabling environment. For the banking sector here in Nigeria, I'm not so conversant with that of Kenya. That is more progressive, and you see a lot of fintechs. I mean, fintech space in Nigeria is huge. That has not translated to the insurance industry, right? So how pivotal a role does the, regulator play? And I think that for the regulator in Kenya, they are more progressive. So what do you think that the other regulators in Africa can learn really from what you guys have done there?
Yeah, I would say that the regulator here is, they have a mission and vision to increase insurance penetration as well. And I think that's really important. And they've realized that technology and InsurTech is going to play a big role in that. They've even launched a sandbox. Okay. I don't know when the first cohort is going to be, but they've been working with, I think, governments from Singapore to launch a sandbox here for InsurTech. Okay. I think it's really exciting. I think it's really exciting that the regulator is, looking at innovation and trying to embrace it instead of stifle it, which I think you see in other markets. So I think it's really, really great to see. And I hope that they'll continue to be more flexible and open. I think one of the biggest things they need to revisit is the barrier to becoming an insurance company. So in Kenya, we have the highest rate of capital in the world. So it costs $6 million to get an insurance license in Kenya. And I think that they need to sort of assess that and see what role, having such a huge barrier plays in restricting startups from entering that market and changing the industry as a whole. Because at the end of the day, people always have to still rely on underwriters. And if the underwriters are not thinking outside the box, then, it's very difficult to actually have an impact.
The regulator really is quite important, and you need to encourage, and I'm happy to hear about the sandbox. So for Lami now, what's the future like? What are you pushing towards? I mean, what's the next big thing for Lami? What are you working on? What are you pushing for in the nearest future? I
started Lami with the intention of, getting insurance to more people, making it accessible. Yeah. So the more people I can get insurance to using our API, the happier I'll be. I hope that, I think that the insurance industry is going to completely go digital over the next few years, similar to what you see in banking, in the banking industry and finance. And I hope that Lami will be a pillar in that and will be the facilitator in helping others to create and distribute products. I hope that as many as possible digital insurance policies run through our platform. For me, we made it as easy as possible. We're going to be making our APIs available so that anybody can just get the documentation and integrate it and implement.
Okay.
So that's a very big part for us.
I want to hear your thoughts now in terms of technologies that would really help the industry to grow, going forward. What technologies do you think that would be very key for insurance companies to begin to at least start learning about and start integrating into their system? I mean, you leverage APIs, for example.
I think we're going to see a lot of use of AI for claims processing, also natural language processing. All these kinds of things are going to become, basically machine learning is going to have a bigger role to play in insurance. And I think that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a game changer in terms of the time frame it takes to process claims. Because instead of it taking us 7 days, you can process a claim in maybe 10 seconds. And that's going to be have a huge impact on how people view insurance and how people, whether people trust. That problem of people not trusting their insurance company is going to be completely eliminated.
Yeah.
I hope that we start seeing those use of technology very soon.
Okay, yeah. So in terms of funding now, what's that like? I know that, you've been a part of some events at the ITC Global. I know they're part of that. But in terms of attracting funding, are you seeking funds at the moment, or where are you at now?
We are fundraising at the moment. We are fundraising from a few VCs, and hopefully we'll be able to close that by the end of the year. I think that InsurTech is still very new, even for VCs. They still they always have questions. They try to understand, a little bit more about the industry. But I would say that the main thing to look at generally is although there's 3% penetration in the market, there's 97% of people that don't have insurance. And that's the value.
Opportunity.
That's that's the opportunity that's in this market.
That's an interesting point to mention, because the insurance industry, maybe around the world, but I think in Nigeria, right? There's a lot of talk around the insurance companies, being competitive. And I look at it that, hey, with less than 1% penetration, there's actually there's no competition, right? Because there are people who don't have some form of insurance, right? So the opportunity is there. So it's just about leveraging what needs to be leveraged, technology, for example, changing that mindset and tapping that market. There are a lot of opportunities there, and I think that what you're doing and technology generally would help the industry. Apart from East Africa, you're a tech company, so I imagine that you definitely want to go beyond just East Africa.
Yes, absolutely. That's why, again, the API model makes it very easy. You just have to partner with underwriters in any market, and we're ready to start distribution.
Right, that's great. So for whoever is listening that wants to reach out, how can they reach out to you? LinkedIn, or you want to share an email?
Yes, you can reach out to us on info@lami.world. Yeah, so please feel free to reach out in case you want to embed insurance or you want to create and distribute a product using the Lami API.
That's cool. So well done with what you do. And before we let you go, do you have any advice for young insurance professionals who want to start up something, and there's the buzzword disrupt? They want to be a part of that new normal. They want to pioneer that new normal. What's the advice that you have for them? You are a young person yourself, but in terms of experience and exposure and what you've done so far, you're some steps ahead.
I would say that this is the right time. It's definitely the time. COVID has really sped up the process of people realizing that they need digital insurance. So if you want to create a product, this is definitely the right time. People's mentalities have begun to change, and we're just at the point in which I think InsurTech is going to explode. So don't give up, and don't be afraid to go out there and create this product.
I want to visit Kenya soon. What should I be eating when I come there?
Yeah, I'm from the coast, so we definitely eat a lot of seafood. That's mostly that's most of the food that we eat. Seafood and things cooked with coconut. So it's very, very good.
Oh wow! Okay.
I highly recommend.
All right, great. Thank you very much. I've written it down now, so thank you. All right, yeah. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and amazing work that you're doing, and we definitely are rooting for you, and we're waiting for you to come to Nigeria.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be coming there soon.
Right, great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hi, and welcome to the news update. My name is Opeoloa. The headlines: Pula wins InsurTech of the Year at Africa Insurance Awards. WhatsApp partners insurer to distribute health insurance in India. NIA recommends inclusion of risk-based capital in 2020 insurance bill. Now, the details. Pula wins InsurTech of the Year at African Insurance Awards. The African Insurance Award, organized by African Re, was held on Friday, 18th December 2020, and featured topical discussions relating to the future of insurance on the continent. Apart from being held online for the first time, the great work being done by insurtech companies in Africa was for the first time celebrated. Of the 4 nominees, Pula, an insurtech re-imaging Agric insurance for African farmers, was announced as the winner. Other winners on the day includes Valentine Ojuma, the CEO of FBN Insurance, who won CEO of the Year, Alpha Direct Botswana, who won Innovation of the Year, and Mauritius Union Assurance, who won Insurer of the Year. WhatsApp partners Insurer to distribute health insurance in India. WhatsApp India has recently announced a distribution partnership with India Insurer SBI General Insurance, aiming at bringing health insurance to more Indians as they look to offer more financial services to their large user base in the country. This new development is coming at the back of WhatsApp embedding payment features through WhatsApp Pay and a shopping cart in its app to enable e-commerce transactions. NIA recommends inclusion of risk-based capital in 2020 insurance bill. The Nigerian Insurance Association, during its presentation at the public hearing for the 2020 insurance bill, has recommended that risk-based capital be included in the new bill. This, according to the association, will help to ensure proper utilization of capital, attract investment, and increase the contribution of insurance to Nigeria's GDP. Speaking at the hearing, the NIA chairman, Ganiyu Musa, said the association is convinced that risk-based capital adequacy template is the best fit for the insurance industry in Nigeria, especially given the fact that the 2013 IMF report has prescribed it and the Commission agreed with it. It's important to note NICOM has increased the capital requirements for insurance companies to 8 billion naira for life insurance, 10 billion naira for general insurers, and 18 billion for composite insurers. That's it on the news update. Back to Damola and Folumi.
Hello, Damola and Folumi. Trust you guys are doing great. I want to appreciate you for this awesome initiative and for committing your time and resources into coming up with great episodes every fortnight. Listening to the podcasts instills in me passion to effect positive change in the insurance industry, and I do hope to be part of you in the nearest future, to be part of what you're doing and to commit myself to it. Thank you so much. We appreciate what you're doing. Please don't stop. God bless you. We love you. Cheers.
Hi guys, welcome back to our podcast. I'm sure that you enjoyed that conversation with G and Abbas. Unfortunately, I wasn't a part of it, but having listened to that conversation, you know that it summed up, what we spoke about throughout the year and also during our conference, which was really beautiful. And for me, Gianna Bass it felt like she, spoke my mind when I was giving out that presentation about simplifying insurance at the conference. And I liked the fact that, she kept mentioning distribution, and then, she mentioned how to simplify insurance in such a way that you don't just make a one fit size all. You break down insurance and then you find a way to distribute it. And what she's really doing with Lami is what we've been preaching to a lot of insurance companies as to how to redefine the redistribution method, and carry insurance to the rural area. I particularly like the fact that she mentioned what inspired her to go into insurance, about knowing fully well that some people couldn't even afford the standard health insurance products that were at that time in the market, but they didn't even have the policy in the first place. So, it's exciting to have had that kind of conversation. It just embodies everything, almost everything rather, that, we spoke about during the conference. What about you, Damola? Like, what exactly was your own
I was quite excited to speak with her because she's a woman doing amazing stuff in the insurance space, and not just an insurer, but it's building up an insurtech and really just going head on and saying, hey, the industry can be better, and providing a lot of technology to help the industry, to do better and be better. And so for me, from that conversation, generally, I just feel motivated, and I feel like it's a call for as many young people who are listening, right? You have those ideas, you have those thoughts. You don't know how it's going to be. You don't know where to start. Just start somewhere. Start by writing them down. Start by looking for people who are like minds to have those conversations with, and see. You'll be surprised the doors that can open up. There are a lot of opportunities in the industry, and there's a lot of things that technology can help the industry to achieve. And Lami is doing a lot of things. Generally, I just feel excited because this is a young woman. Doing so much in the industry, and the sky is really the beginning for her. And there are a lot more people that can come into this space and do a lot more as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I like the fact that you said a lot more, which is, which, by the way, I'm probably just going to throw this challenge out to, our listeners. There's always a pain point for insurance. I wouldn't know if it's peculiar around the globe, but I'll say for Nigeria, we've always had issues around claims. Claims management has always been a pain point here. And this is just, we've had people like startups in the course of, our conversation that we've seen, startups like Flurry providing health insurance for, immigrants, and then providing it for their beneficiaries in their home country, which I think is actually amazing. Yeah. It's fantastic. And then, we have Hella, who is actually helping to give out loans to people for insurance and health insurance, basically. And then we also have Wella, who is actually selling micro health insurance, which I think is actually fantastic. And then we also have, there's been, we just spoke about Lami, and then there's also Bismart in Kenya that has also helped to bring in a lot of insurance, different type of insurance products. I would like say the Jumia of insurance, for instance, and that particular marketing model is actually working over there. Yeah. So I would just like to throw this out to a lot of which also we have Louis. Louis has also started his own micro insurance business in Kenya, strictly for the agri-business for now, which I think that is actually fantastic. These are young people that are coming up with bright ideas, and they are constantly penetrating the market. You don't even have to be actively in distribution or sales. There's Curacao. They are specialized in claims fraud, especially in the health insurance space. So, again, I was going to throw out this to people. Like, the pain point again in insurance, as it stands, it's claims management. And it's really actually be good if we can have people that are passionate about insurance, people that are smart, that can come together and, try as much as possible to resolve that pain point, like see how to simplify claims management. Because at that point where we are able to, once we simplify claims management and it doesn't take a whole lot of, tedious process to pay claims, we would actually win the trust of a lot of people. Like majority of the populace would buy into insurance because, hey, insurance is all about claims, really. Really. And so if you are able to pay my claim, I'm going to spread your gospel. It's just when we do the math, that's exactly how it is. So, while we're having all this startup, like Damola said, people that are passionate about insurance, and young people out there that could come up with various ideas. You can write it down, you can sell it to people that will bring the ideas alive. Claims management is just one of the several expos that I can give to you from the goodness of my heart.
You can collaborate. You can partner. There are a lot of conversations around solutions for the insurance industry. I mean, I've been at engagements around the fintech space, and they're quite keen on the insurance space, and they're looking for solutions that they can throw money at. So why not come up with these ideas, put it together, collaborate with others, bring them together, and approach those VCs and see how we can go. We'll be, hopefully in 2021, we're doing a lot of things to encourage innovation as well in the insurtech space. So, watch this space. So for 2021, I echo what Folumi has just said. And this year has been really interesting, speaking with a lot of people that she just mentioned on the podcast and even at the IBS conference 2020 there. And apart from those startups, this year we also spoke with some authors. And when you look at the insurtech space now, there's not, if you look at 10 years before now, I don't think there was any literature about insurtech, right? So this is a new area, it's a budding area. And so we spoke to a lot of thought leaders who are authors as well. Spoke to the amazing Rob Galbraith, the most interesting man in insurance. Yes, we spoke to him about his book, The End of Insurance as We Know It. Exactly. That's the title of the book. You should read that book. We spoke with Frederick Bisbjørn, who spoke at our conference actually. The title of his book is Insurance Next. Just talking about digital transformation, for the insurance industry. We spoke to Gilad Shai, who also contributed in the insurance book. These are amazing guests that we actually spoke with. And these are people that are creating literature that the industry can benefit from. You can grow in. We also spoke with Eunice Minor, who has a book about her journey from being an agent to running an insurtech company today. The title of the book, Sell Me This Pen. I recommend that book to every agent who is listening today.
Not just agents, any salesperson that would be interested in,
Actually, yes.
I think it's just generally everybody.
So it's a very inspiring story about, our growth, because she joined the industry out of curiosity. All right. So yeah, these are guys that we spoke with throughout this year, and speaking to them about their book and why they're passionate about what they do. And these guys are doing amazing work, even in the industry, at the moment. Outside of all of these guys, we still went on to speak to some of the top professionals in the industry. We spoke to the ever smiling Rasheedat Adebisi, who is
one of the female leaders in the industry.
Yes. So amazing conversation with her. We spoke with Adeyinka Aderombi, who is head digital transformation at Leadway Assurance. Spoke with Samuel Mbonu. So all of these guys, Ekerete Olagdamikon, Adi Kaimowitz from South Africa. We just want to say thank you to you guys. You guys made the year amazing. Thank you for sharing all that you did. Thank you for enriching us with your knowledge and freely giving it to us. We're better for it. And that is what we do here at Insurtech Business Series. We encourage learning, foster innovation, and ensure that we create opportunities for networking. So thank you. Thank you to you guys.
Again, a very big thank you. This year, like I said earlier, has been super, super amazing. Of course, we've had our top 5 most listened conversation. You even need to listen to it to know why it's a top 5. But then there are also others that we wouldn't want you to miss as well. This is one of them. And, conversations about how exactly we want to move the industry forward, which I think it's important that things are good to go back and listen to some of these conversations. You could pick in an idea or two, who knows, that you could, be able to provide solution to your, current job function, or it could actually be generally to the insurance industry. And I think that they are really, really interesting. So to everybody that has in one way or the other contributed to the success of InsurTech Business Series, we're saying thank you. Our listeners, you're amazing. You've been amazing all year round. Our egg plays have actually, the numbers are increasing, day by day. Our community on LinkedIn, man, you guys keep amazing.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
The numbers are increasing.
Amazing. Always engaging with that content. Yeah.
As much as possible, we are grateful. We see you. And we'll be happy to also get in your shout outs if you're interested. So, hey, this is the final episode for 2020. But 2021, we're coming to you bigger and better. So we would like that you stay tuned and you anticipate. Again, I remain your co-host. Follow me, and with me here,
Damola.
Thank you.
Wishing you a prosperous New Year.
Yeah.
Enjoyable holidays.
Exactly. All right, guys. Bye.